Yo, what up YouTube? Kyle here for Boss TCG, your home for competitive TCG news and content, and we're on episode 3 of Core Draw Refresh. How's it feel, brother man?
I'm feeling good. How are you? It's been quite a week for both of us.
It's been, yeah. I finally got the second, technically first episode of Boss for Game of Pokemon TCG podcast. And it's evolving. I think we're going to change it to being just an interview show of different Pokemon players. I think that's what we're going to do. But, yeah, we really haven't talked since League or since, our weekly tournament. How's your week been, man?
Oh, it's been all right. I think, we started off this week with another store championship. Did not win that one. I did very poorly. I feel like I was in a wrong headspace to play, but I ended up feeling a lot better afterwards with my deck list, because going in, I felt very unsure of how I wanted to move forward with changing the deck and keeping it up to date, I guess is the best way to put it. And afterwards, I know we talked about the list and what I wanted to do with the sideboard, and I felt a lot better, and it motivated me to want to change it and keep moving forward. And same on Tuesday. I think Tuesday I did a bit better, but I think I was still kind of like off, when you don't do as well as you want to do, or if you're just like not in the right headspace going into a tournament, it can really mess with your gameplay. And just like work was kicking my butt like the last month, it feels like, but getting back on track, it felt really good. So
yeah, I think that's a great time, especially coming up to Tulsa. It's good that you're getting into that flow of getting in the right headspace. And when you lose to me, it does put you in a terrible headspace. I feel you. Yeah, I got a dub. I got 2 dubs this week. I got 2 dubs at this week's tournament. I lost Mike with his purple stuff. We actually played it like a best 2 out of 3.
Yeah, that's.
And I did my sideboarding, and then I played with my sideboarded in cards, which kind of a preface to today's episode. We'll actually kind of talk about that, and then I'll go into what my week was like. But today's episode, we are going to be doing... I didn't put him in a list. He didn't put him in a list. We're going to be doing how to build a TCG team, pre-tournament and during tournament anxiety, how to deal with that. We're going to finally do the fantasy draft, because you convinced me last week we weren't going to do it. And then we're going to be releasing my deck list for Monroeville. Now, we can't really do sideboard because it's like 30 cards, but yeah, man, my week's been crazy but chill at the same time. The stuff that had to get done this week to do with the channel, very stressful, very very stressful. It's just getting everything and editing and lining up people to come on Boss for Game and kind of really brainstorm more stuff for this podcast. That's where the stressful stuff is. But other than that, Madden came out, charged me twice. It charged me once for the regular version of Madden and then the deluxe version. So I used my Cash App card. So I click buy, and it's like, oh, we're gonna start downloading, and Cash App's like $170. I was like, I don't know why there's $170, but they were pretty quick. I was on like a chat hold line for like an hour, and then 10 minutes in, they're like, oh, hey, here's your refund. I'm like, awesome.
At least they didn't hang up on you.
Oh, yeah, no, it happened like 3 times, so I finally got into it. But that was all within like 5 minutes, so it was easy. But played in a Madden tournament today, and just like my ability in card games, my ability in Madden sucks. So I don't know if I blame my team or blame my my ability to play. I don't know. It's one of the two. That's always what it comes down to. Yeah, I think so too. I have Justin Fields' gold card, and he threw like 3 picks. When I'm like, I said, plop it in this spot, and you're like 3-4 yards to the left, and like just right into a DB's hand. So back to drawing board with how that deck is being built. But other than that, it's been a pretty good week. Got to play some Battle Spirits. I was going to play in that tournament that you didn't get to play in, right? The one that was today?
I was going to play today in the online tournament through PPG. And, yesterday I spent like 8 hours testing my list and I was trying some other decks too,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted a better feel for what those decks want to do and their strategy and what kind of screws them over, what I want to see in my opening hands, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we tested, like I said, for about 8 hours. It's like 7 hours in. I'd planned to like upload the list right at midnight, or
Yeah.
like maybe like half an hour before, because in the past, the other online tournament I had played in actually was the day of. Like you had like an hour before the tournament started. You
Which
just
is
need to make sure you
nice.
had.
That's the
Yeah.
nicer way to do things, in my opinion, is instead of
Oh, I
like the
think so
day
too.
before. Because we
Yeah,
get
yeah.
the Pokemon community. There was last season. There was the same organizers. The West Coast organizers were like, "Oh yeah, submit your deck list the night before."
Month
And
before.
the month before, yes, you got to decide a month out. When you sign, actually, right when you sign up, you have to decide the deck you're going to play. But yeah, no, the night before, and a lot of people on the West Coast are driving to a lot of those tournaments, so
Yeah,
they're not
yeah.
getting in, or they're flying in. They get in, they have to do it before they leave. And dude, imagine trying to submit your deck list at work on your lunch
I
break,
know.
your nice 30-minute lunch break that you get every day.
Well,
They're
that's what
like,
I
oh
was
hey,
gonna
don't go
say.
eat, just go submit a deck list.
Well, I mean, I honestly, I could have probably done it a little different had I not been testing, but my decks
Hmm.
were not built. So it
Yeah.
was it's like 10:55,
Hmm.
and I was like, let me see what the process is, because some organizers have a little bit differently.
Yeah.
And normally you just have to like join their Discord server and like fill out an online form and then submit a deck list. And I was like, I just want to see what I have to do, make sure I have everything that
Yeah.
I need here. If not, I was at my brother's house, so I was like, we'll make sure we have it. And I go on and I go to like PPG's website, and it's like deck lists are due the day before at 11 p.m.
What
like
the?
5 minutes from when I was like right then. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, well, I can't put together a deck, a sideboard, and finish this online registration form in 5 minutes.
Yeah. No.
So I was like, I don't want to take a round one loss
Yeah.
and pay $30 just to like. The other thing too is with registration, sometimes those links will just kick you out.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh no, no. I had that experience in Columbus. Yeah.
yeah,
We ended up submitting 5 or 3 minutes after, something like that. Like it was a very short time after it, but
yeah.
we were having troubles with like all our clocks at different times, and then we had some troubles resubmitting deck lists. So, yeah, you were saying that you'd rather take the round one loss in the tournament that actually matters than like, oh
Yeah,
hey, if it was like a $10 one, like would you have thought of
yeah.
submitting?
I would have done it. I think like, especially for me, the biggest thing was it was an online, so it was like probably not gonna be that many people, if I'm
Yeah.
being honest. And then on top of that, the people that you do play are gonna have. It's not gonna be like a premier tournament
Yeah,
experience.
yeah.
Like,
You don't
if I
get
felt
the good enough testing like you would in something that would be maybe the week before an
Right, yeah.
event or something like that. Like if I went on if I did one next weekend, I think there's one next weekend. But you're going to be in Tulsa next
wait, maybe
weekend because I think
maybe
there's
there
one
is.
Tulsa weekend. So
I actually
you're
think
gonna
you're right about that.
you're gonna have more decks that would have been at that event compared to, oh hey, we're like 3 weeks out from Monroeville, I'm just gonna play some jank.
Dude, I might try to do that because I'm gonna be in the hotel room. I might bring my tripod.
Right.
Dude, that'd be kind of sick. Though.
Well, hey guys, we might be having a live stream from Daniel's hotel room. Because when are you flying back? When are you flying back?
Monday.
Monday?
Monday.
But when are you
Yeah.
day two? Oh, you
Well,
said you're
that's the thing.
Monday, right? So if you day two, you won't be able to play in the online, but at that point, you just don't care.
Yeah, I just wouldn't care. I
Yeah.
mean, even the other thing too is depending when it starts. Well, I'll be Central Time Zone, so
Yeah.
even if it's West Coast, it probably wouldn't work.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, obviously it would just depend.
Yeah.
If I don't make day two and they don't do like day one rounds on.
Oh, yeah,
Sunday,
like they did for Columbus, yeah.
yeah. I mean, it also depends too. If they have side events, I'll probably just stick around the venue because
Yeah.
I'm not gonna have anything better to do. Really,
Right.
I've never been to that city before, so I
Oh,
guess
that'd
I'll
be
be in
interesting.
downtown.
I've been, Oklahoma I like a lot. So I haven't been to Tulsa and I haven't been to Oklahoma City. I was at Oklahoma City Airport for like maybe like 2 hours when I was
Yeah.
stationed in Fort Sill, Oklahoma. It's Lawton, so it's like center of the state. I never left like the town, the city limits. So except for doing some underage drinking, I'm not gonna lie. I'm yes, guys. I'm just gonna admit that I messed up when I was younger. I drank underage. I'm just gonna do it. But but yeah, no. Oklahoma, just the vibe. Of Oklahoma is I like a lot. It's slower. And the food out there is amazing. So get some good food. I'm a little jealous you're going to Tulsa and I can't.
Well, I mean, the thing too is I'm going alone. Like, I don't know anyone who's going to be there. All of our
Aaron ain't
texting
going.
partners,
Aaron
no,
ain't going.
everyone has either decided not to go or can't make it,
Yeah.
and my fiance has something going on too, so it's going to be just me.
You're gonna be all alone. No one here besides you. Are your troubles have all gone?
I'll be calling you. I'll be like, "Oh, Kyle, please,
Please, just I just don't want to hug." No, definitely Friday. Since you don't have anybody physically test with there, just hit me up on Discord and we'll play a bunch of hands once you get in.
Oh, dude, I would love that. I'll have to bring my my tripod and everything.
Yeah,
that'd be so fun.
Why do I gave it to you for a reason? I need you to be quality. You know, you're on the Battle Spirit team for Boss TCG. We need you to top 8 so we can start getting advertising in this
I can be taken seriously.
Yeah, exactly. And that kind of that segues great into our first topic: building a TCG team. Daniel, have you ever built a TCG team, even if it was just with friends and stuff? So so I've built 3 teams. This is number 3, and I've learned a lot from the first 2 compared to what this one is. So this one's going to be definitely more organized, because that's the big thing is you got to kind of go when you're going into building a team. What's your objective? Are you trying to build the most notable team for the best competitors? Are you going is it a group of friends that are coming to have an organized, come organized, and everybody splits and puts into a pot and splits all costs? Are you trying to get large sponsorships? Like, what's your goal? That's the first thing you have to do when you're going into building a team.
Yeah.
And then 2 is, what is your objective as a team? Now, is it to build a community like that follows the team? So are you just trying to build a YouTube community that follows all these players? Are you trying to build something that is all high level players and you're only trying to get like 1 or 2 really good or 2 or 3 good players and place highly at events? I mean, going into any events, you're trying to place as high as possible, but you got to really look at what is your goal as a team. Are you a team that is coming together because you guys all believe in the same social issues? Like, I know there's a Pokemon team, I forgot what their name is, but it's all it's female empowerment, LGBTQ kind of thought process, and yes, they have some of the best players in the world, but their thing is more of like, let's unite together and because we all
like
have common value. Exactly. So I kind of wanted to bring up kind of to talk about what that step is, because especially getting into a new card game, we're going to be seeing more and more teams.
Yeah.
So I wanted to kind of ask you, you said you've never built a team before, but did you kind of travel with the same group of people, and how did you guys kind of go about that?
Well, for me, when I first started playing card games, like especially like in my adult life, I didn't really know anyone else outside of the hobby. It wasn't like my brother had played it when I was younger, and same with my cousin. Like, some of my family and my friends growing up had, but I think I've mentioned on the podcast before, like, I didn't even know that there was such thing as like organized play or competitive players. I didn't know that there was card stores, like stores dedicated to selling trading cards. I didn't know any of that existed.
Yeah.
So when I came back into the hobby, it was because I moved right next door to a card store. And I don't even know how I found out about it. I think that somebody must have told me that it was like pretty close by, and then I found out that it was like less than 5 minutes from where I live.
Yeah, and that's sunshine, right?
Yeah, and especially when I was that age, I didn't really have anything better to do.
Yeah.
I was working like in a retail store, and just making ends meet. So I went to that card store, and I really fell in love with the people there.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I've cultivated the community for Battle Spirits, at least with the group of friends that I have. But when I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh, it was more of just like, it was honestly a lot more difficult to get to know a group of people because the group that would attend those tournaments was so much bigger and they weren't as consistent. I think that for someone who doesn't have a whole lot of experience in the community, I think it's probably best to just, put yourself out there a little bit, find that opponent that you really respect and start to introduce yourself and try to test with them. Somebody at your same skill level is also really good. If you're a new player, try to find another newer player and just kind of stick with them, see how it goes. That would be my best advice. And what we've done in Battle Spirits is because we all started at the same place. We all started with no knowledge. I think that a lot of your fundamental skills show a lot more. And I will say we have a really solid group of players where we are. Everyone has a very strong foundation. I don't think this is anyone's first card game.
No.
And we all kind of know like how this works, what to expect. Everyone, well, I don't want to say everyone, but I think most people play a different card game on top of this. I mean, I don't play Yu-Gi-Oh anymore, really. I still have all my cards and everything, obviously, but I don't like play it. Definitely not as much as I used to before Battle Spirits came out.
The thing is, when you guys are getting into building a team, it's finding like-minded people, like you were saying, at your local card shop, and it doesn't matter where your skill level is. You could be the worst of the worst or the best of the best. I got a call coming in. Hold on. Boop boop. But it's finding that common ground of like, what's your end goal? It's like going to any tournament. Everybody wants to win the tournament, but you should have an end goal of like, I just want a top 64. Like I want to place 20 spots higher than I did in the last major tournament.
Exactly.
And then when also bringing up, you said PPG was the one doing this online event, right?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, so PPG is a store in Miami. So they actually have their own pro team, and that's another thing too, because if you're a store owner and you kind of understand what the purpose of a team is, it's advertising. It's advertising, and it's a way to emphasize your superiority in a specific card game. The way we're doing it as Boss TCG is we're just trying to gain advertisers and to spread the word of Boss TCG. It's our advertisement to the trading card game community that we're a YouTube channel, YouTube network that is trying to have a different perspective of reporting the card game, because a lot of people will report the card game of like, oh, here's the standings, here are the deck lists, oh, let's talk about the next event, let's talk about the meta. And we want to have more of a conversation about the card game in general, not just go report news, but kind of have a dialogue build on some of these things. Like we talked about, I want to say it was our first podcast when we were talking about cheating.
It was.
And kind of bringing awareness to, like I said, my big thing, because especially what happened at Fort Wayne regionals for Pokemon, where this dude just grabbed an extra card off the top of his deck to start with, and I'm like counting his cards, and like he's like, oh, I did this way, and it just didn't make any sense. He's like, this is how I got the extra card. I was like, I did the math, it didn't make sense. It's really call out those cheaters, and that's probably the big driving force why I've switched Boss TCG from just being an apparel company, building an apparel brand, to being more of a news, casting network, and kind of have a different conversation about each of the card games that isn't really brought up as much, and more of conversation of card games in general, which that's what we're kind of laying the basis with this card game. As we wait for tournaments to get bigger, we get more knowledge about different things happening in the card game. But
it's kind of
but yeah, no, building a TCG team is it really comes to like what is your end goal, and like I've said what our goal is as a team, but a team does not have to be the best players in the world. You could be actually all players that are like the top 10% of tables all the time, but you're just trying to you know give off or what's the word I'm trying to find project positivity into the guard game, and that's all you're doing
Yeah.
is just being a positive influence.
Well, I will say too, when you're starting out with a group of people and you decide, okay, like you said, this is our goal. For us, we kind of want to have a little bit more experience, just doing what we're doing too. And having established those boundaries, I think it's easier to get closer to your team too, because if you all have the same beliefs and you all know where you want to go, it just makes it easier to start to rely on each other for transportation, for rooming. Like you had mentioned sponsorships, but in a way, a team kind of sponsors each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like
100%.
as funny as it is, we were just talking about like you gave me a tripod to use for this, or to bring out, or
Yep.
even if it's just for testing, or if your guys are going to go in for a case of product for your card game or deck sleeves at an event, like these are the things that you want people to rely on for. And I do think it's important, especially for me. Motivation is a big deal, right? Like
Yeah.
when you're thinking about playing in locals, you're like, oh, like, I just got off of work. For me,
It's that
I just got
stress,
home from
brother
work.
man. It's that
Yeah.
stress. It's that anxiety for a
Hmm.
tournament, and that's what that team helps you do. It's not about being a financial gain when you're building a team.
Right.
Not all the time. Like yes, of
No,
course, when you
no.
get to being a bigger team, there is financial aspects. But wouldn't everybody love to play their favorite card game for almost free?
Yeah, right.
Be able to travel the country, travel the world playing a card game they love. And but the big thing is you could have somebody supporting you financially, but if you don't have that team that group behind you that helps you test, helps you with anxiety,
With
helps you
your ideas, yeah.
making the like when you come up with a problem in a game, like after let's say round 3, you come up against something you haven't seen and you don't know how to get around it with your deck. What is the team there for?
Exactly. They're going to be there to bounce it off of you. Be like, look, I just played in Battle Spirits. I just played this insane rainbow deck I've never seen before. And if you said that to me, I'd say, oh, I know that rainbow deck because one of our guys in the locals
Yep.
plays it.
Yep.
I'd be like, look, yeah. And, I'm sure the same is true with other deck ideas and other video game, or I almost said video games, other card games.
Yeah, it's that's the big thing about a team. It's not always about the financial gain. It's about the having a group to travel with, because especially if I wasn't playing card games and I moved to Florida and I was out of the film industry, I wouldn't be going to 95% of the places that I go to when it comes to card games. And to
Yeah.
have people there to split the costs, or if you guys do have a sponsor or two for your team, to be able to spread that $200 for a hotel room for the whole weekend, and be able to like reduce the cost of us traveling, because unless you're placing top 8 in every one of the grand opens, you're spending more than you're making. You're definitely, because I
Exactly.
mean, what, top 32 is like $200, something like that.
Yeah.
And that
250, I think.
yeah, and that if one of us does that, that covers as a team, for Monroeville, that would just cover the hotel and like maybe
Yeah.
a dinner. But yeah, no, building a team is first find your purpose. And if you have a local card shop that wants to sponsor you, let's say it's the card shop, let's say Sunshine wanted to sponsor Boss TCG, right? Then yes, that money goes in, and that'd be a little bit of money going towards. I know when they did their Yu-Gi-Oh sponsorship, they were sponsoring like the cost of their hotel for the bigger events. So it would be, it just, if you can get some money coming into it, that's great. But it's more about having the support backbone that a team provides.
Yeah.
And we're building, as far as right now, we're building a pretty solid team. But I've said that before. I've said that before, where there's been positive, because with what I've built previously, it's no you have to first designate who is the one building, who is the architect of the team, right?
Hmm.
So I've built a team where there was too many chiefs and not enough Indians. So it's like even come down to like the name of the team for Pokemon was just it was like pulling hair because like somebody wanted to do something that was more like smoking the Trevenant, right? Smoking the tree, smoke the grass, like they're like that. I'm like, no, the Pokemon will not allow us to wear that stuff in their events. And they're, oh, then what's your better idea? And then I would be like, Tampa Trubbish, right? And it was just like Trubbish is a little like pile of trash. So it's like Tampa
Yeah.
trash. And they're like, oh, that's stupid. What that doesn't even look good on a shirt. And then there's too many Indians. So you got to first figure out when you're building a team. What we kind of got sidetracked, but when you're building a team, you got to designate one, maybe two people as the chiefs, and then you all are Indians
Yeah.
because if you don't have that, you don't have a direction. You might all
Yeah.
believe in the same stuff, and then you got to also designate each person a job. Like what I'm currently working on is trying to figure out who's going to be the assistant captain, who's going to be the scout, which we it's more of the person that is more designated to see what the meta looks like. And then like the person that knows the most about deck building because everybody thinks they're the best at deck building. Oh, excuse me,
Yeah.
best at deck building, but there's truly a talent behind deck building. You don't
Oh
have to be the
yeah.
best player, but you could have the best ideas and just the people that can execute them. So you really have to give each person a job so that they don't feel like, oh well, I'm just putting on a shirt and going to play an event and like I don't feel part of it. If you give everybody a little piece of the pie to work on, that's what you need to do. And also finding the right people. I actually it's another one of my old teams. We had a couple guys, and they were local to the I'm just gonna say the west coast of Florida,
Yeah.
and thought they were great guys. We had a little bit of falling out with the viewpoints. They were trying to be chiefs and not Indians, and come to find out, this is about a year later that they wouldn't have been the right fit because they wouldn't have. They were looking at Pokemon as a business, not as a
Uh,
card game. So they were the way they would go to tournaments. And these are people that didn't know I knew them, were telling me about them, and like they were saying that they were just treating like, oh well, let's go, hurry up. Oh, they're at a local tournament with it's like maybe like a box tournament, right? There's like 10
yeah.
people putting in for a box, and they're like, oh well, you can't take that attachment back, and like just giving the Pokemon player community just a bad name. So
Yeah.
like that's a big thing too, is to have the right people that are going to represent. And at the end of the day, your team is a brand, so you have to have people that are going to represent your brand properly. And I know you've probably dealt with people that are like that you wouldn't want on your team. But if you were to build a
Oh
team,
yeah.
Daniel, I know that you're not the chief of this whole thing, but I do respect your opinion. If you were to build a team, somebody that's never done it before, what else would you be looking for in a team
I
member?
think there's a social aspect that is important. I had mentioned it, kind of when I had first started talking about it, but you want somebody who just is like you, like somebody you'd be friends with. I think that if you sit down across from somebody to play, you can tell. I mean, I don't know if that makes sense. Maybe it's a little corny,
Mm-hmm.
but playing someone is probably the best way to know what kind of person they are. You can tell if they're a really confident person, if they're maybe a little bit shy based off the way they play, just the way they interact with you before and after the game, even during certain interactions. If you're beating them and they have a lot of like sportsmanship.
Yeah.
They're just very calm or very understanding. It's probably a pretty good sign that they'd be somebody worth having around. I think that to me, that would be the most important thing, is that social aspect. Is this somebody that other people would get along with? Because I mean, I did mention too that I worked in retail, and I was leadership there for a while, and it's like if you have people who don't get along with others on a team, it is like the worst thing because it will just make no one else want to be around. And
Yeah.
it may not even be personal. Like, I think a lot of people take that really harsh. They're like, oh, well, sometimes you're just not in the right headspace to be around other people too. I mean, we were just talking about that is if sometimes people just go through different things in life. Sometimes
Yeah.
life can be heavy, it could be easy, it could be not, and those things can influence you from week to week, from day to day
Oh
at how
my
you
god.
are.
Yep,
Yeah,
100%, dude. Like I was going through some family issues beginning of this year, and if you played me in car, I really didn't play a lot of card games at that time, just because I knew, even though I was traveling, I just wasn't in the right headspace to be a good, vessel for this community of
yeah,
as Pokemon. Like every day to day, it can get extremely tough, and that's what a team also does, is like can understand that. But if somebody's like that
yeah,
all the time, like you
yeah,
meet them and like 6 months in they're the same exact way, then that's just their personality. They're
yeah.
just not the right person for a team unless you're just trying to build a team of assholes. Then yeah, he's perfect at
Right.
that point.
Well, yeah, like you said, you have your idea of what you'd want. I think for me, the most important thing in a community is respect.
Hmm.
And again, I know it might be kind of corny, but what we're doing is basically a test of wits, right?
Yep.
We're all playing ideally on an equal playing field. There are issues in this game with availability of like finding
Yeah.
specific tournament cards, whatever the
Axe
case may
biter.
be, but yeah, or even
Mr.
like the new
Tarantula.
ones. Yeah, it's like the price isn't normally the biggest thing for people because of how low that entry level is for Battle
Yeah.
Spirits, but um, it feels very equal. It's not like some other card games where every staple's $100 or whatever. And
Yu-Gi-Oh,
um,
Magic,
yeah,
sometimes Pokemon, not gonna lie.
so, yeah, and you know, I want it to be respectful. If I'm that focused, if I'm that like mentally invested in something, I don't want to be playing against someone who's
Yeah.
going to be a pain in my ass. I mean, genuinely, I have played against people in our community, like in Battle Spirits, and I've played against people in Yu-Gi-Oh communities. I've played against people in Magic and Pokemon communities. They could be this. I mean, it's not specific to a card game. I know people pick on Yu-Gi-Oh for that, but it's really not just Yu-Gi-Oh.
No, you have
It's
some great people in every card game. It's more
yeah,
about, I think it's a percentage. I think maybe slightly higher than most
yeah,
card games. That's why they pick on Yu-Gi-Oh. But for the most part, if you're a card game player, we all have a similar uh, demeanor. It's a similar value system when it comes to competing against other people. It's just we're
yeah.
there to have fun. And then last thing, and we haven't done this yet. I actually haven't talked to you about this yet, Daniel. So it's kind of a little bit, but you'll understand when I say it. Is have even just a basic contract, so that if there is any money put in, that it doesn't get lost in this in interpretation of like what that stuff gets divvied up for, but
Yeah,
also it's a way out for if you do bring somebody on that you think is going to be perfect for your team, and you put this is the expectation. Maybe just like, hey, suggest we need somebody, at least 3 people every time you play, to use your code for the website to just do that.
yeah.
Like, set expectations in the contract, which we're gonna. I'm. That's another thing that I've been stressed out about this week, is building out the contracts. But even if it's just something basic, like, hey, don't put, if you put racist stuff online, that you're like that type of stuff. Not that like,
The easiest thing in the world. Yeah, you just be
yeah.
like, well, if you commit crimes openly,
Yes, we have a way, because especially when you do, if you, let's say all you like, let's say our whole team becomes some of the best in Battle Spirits, and we're top tables all the time. We start having advertisers come in. Well, if my brother Alex, says President Joe Biden has a smelly butt, and then like they're like, oh, well, we don't want to work with them. It's a way for you to protect yourself, but also protect those people that
yeah,
they it's more of a mental thing where they think that, oh, you're just leaving us, and there was no expectations. Like I'm not allowed to say what I want, but you got to have some expectations, and having it written down is actually beneficial for all parties
for both.
in
Yeah.
building a team.
Well, it's like a job, right? Like
Yeah.
if you're gonna take it seriously, you need to take it seriously. And I'm sure people might scoff or whatever. Oh, well, and whatever. I mean, genuinely, like I said, if you're going to take it seriously, take it seriously.
Yeah.
And that's going to be up to you to decide. If
Yeah.
you decide that your team is just going to be your group of friends, that we all pitch in for this trip or that trip,
Mm-hmm.
we're all going to cut gas when we drive
Yeah.
up to this regional, or if we're all going to split an Airbnb or split a case, obviously you don't need to worry about that.
Yeah.
But
But
if you're going to start taking in advertisers and you're going to start being more serious about what you want to do, I think that is well worth it to start looking at, okay.
100%. But that really, we've been talking about building a team, but I know me and you've had conversations about this multiple times, and especially what happened Tuesday, you can understand. Well, we have a similar thing happen, but is pre-tournament, meaning like the lead up to the tournament, and in tournament anxiety and the mental stressors of playing something that is very mentally intense on decision making. What do you do to kind of combat those pre-tournament anxieties and in-tournament anxieties?
I think personally, I kind of set my expectations or like reel them back in. I think that when I first started getting back into card games, like with Yu-Gi-Oh, I was
Mm-hmm.
terrified of the social interaction. I had no idea what to expect.
Yeah,
I'd be terrified that I'd be going. I didn't really wasn't that familiar with like upper levels of the game. When I
yeah,
first got back in, so it's like I was just playing casually, basically, with people who are taking it very seriously, and that scared me so much because I don't want to ruin anyone's time. So with more experience, I have found that it's easiest to just make the situation more realistic in my head. I have a bad habit of blowing things up and being like, "Oh, I'm gonna ruin someone's night because I didn't know what this
yeah,
card did," and like that's just ridiculous. Like when you think about it, like doesn't make any sense.
yeah, yeah,
When I convinced myself to go to my first Battle Spirit locals, all I was thinking was, I'm paying $5 for a tournament pack, and the playing is extra,
yeah,
and that to me really rationalized it because I didn't have any expectations beyond that then.
yeah,
Because that was the exchange. I'm paying $5, I get one tournament pack, everything else is extra. Genuinely, you can drop after that point.
yeah,
If your anxiety is that bad, you'll give yourself some experience going and sitting down for your first round, whatever that may be. I think that personally, having that expectation is what puts a lot on me.
yeah,
When you're at work the day of and you're thinking about like, oh man, I need to perform this way or that way, that's what starts to get into your head and it
yeah,
starts to mess with you. You just have to go in to have fun, or go in to test is another
yeah,
thing. Like you don't need to win every tournament you go to. You don't need to know every card interaction in the game. You don't need to know what your opponent cards does in
yeah.
every situation. Just know what you know. Just go there to have fun.
And that's
That's
why
all
they
you
have
should
judges
expect.
too. They're
Yeah,
not. Everybody's expecting you to just at least know, like
the
the
basics. Yeah,
etiquette of card games. Like this is what you're supposed to. Unless you've never played a card game, people know that. But like, just go in knowing that your etiquette's going to be fine.
yeah,
And just because you don't know, like you're saying with the card interactions, you don't need to be the all knowing. There's judges there for a reason. If you look at a card and you're like, well, I don't think that's how that interacts, you raise your hand and a judge will come by, and if it takes a while to explain it, they'll give you an extension. So you're not damaging your opponent. You're making sure that everything, your knowledge is correct. And if it's not, then that's what judges are there for. They're there to help guide you through the process of interpreting these different interactions when you actually make the decision, because they can't tell you, oh well, if you do this it does this, if you do that it does that. You have to announce what you want to do, and then that's when they can say, oh no, that doesn't work that way. So
yeah.
don't the anxiety for me when I bring up a pre-tournament anxiety is Monroeville. You've seen this a lot with me. I know the exact 51 to 53 cards. Like, okay, maybe I don't know exactly. When I say between 51 and 53 cards, but for the most part, I know what we're going to be, what I'm taking. It's the sideboard that really gets me, because the sideboard for me is more about what helps your deck get better against the meta, right? For
Yeah.
different matchups. And that's where the stress is. And dude, it gets bad for me. When I was playing Pokemon, I would be between 2 or 3 decks up until 15, 20 minutes before before deck submissions need to be submitted. And I would stress of when I'd be like, okay, I finally got to a point like, okay, I'm going to decide the night before. I'm testing, a couple games, and that I would be just the tech cards would stress me out. And the way I combat that is first pray to God, be like, hey, help me make the right decision, God. This just push me in the direction that you think is right. And then I would look at it, talk to all my friends, be like, hey, this interaction, and I just had to, at the end of the day, just be like, if I make the wrong decision, the only thing I know is that I'm gonna have fun while playing card games, because it's your personality, it's your perception of what success is. And yes, I always wanted to be the one that won the regionals and or the Grand Open. Always want to win that stuff. And once I put that I had to be one of the top players, I took that stress out of it. It's taken down my pre-tournament stress way more. And for a while I was on anxiety medication, and it still didn't help. But it was more of when I mentally made that switch of whatever happens. I'm just gonna play the cleanest game I can play, and the way the cards fall, is the way the cards fall. Don't go in there, oh hey, I should have never put this one card in, because hey, if you didn't put that one card in, you would have saw the matchup that you put the card in for. Right, so you just got to take that mental part of it out, where your stress is like, oh hey, I'm gonna put the deck list that I think is the best, and then what can combat. If I don't see that, if I put in something for red, but I see all mirror matches all day, then I see mirror matches all day. But if you, especially that, this helps with the internal anxiety too. It's like, well, if I won that last match, I would have won the whole thing.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who say that.
Oh yeah. Well, Daniel, explain what happens if you did win that one match. Would it have changed the whole tournament?
Exactly, right? Every other game after that would have been different, including the very next one. You would have been in a different headspace. People forget that losing sometimes puts you in that winner mentality where you're like, I'm going to win now.
Yeah, 100%.
Whereas sometimes winning it may not be the best for your mental, but I really do think that it goes pretty deep into just what you should think about this hobby as in a whole. If you're going into it expecting the world, you're probably going to be disappointed, and you're going to be anxious, because if every game is that high stakes, you're not going to have fun. You're going to be stressed out. You're going to be wishing it went one way when it went another. You're going to be mad about certain interactions, or losing, or even winning against, if you're really competitive, sometimes you'll be mad that you won when you shouldn't have. Mm-hmm. And I know people like that. It's just really set an expectation for yourself that is realistic. Yes.
I'm not raising my hand because that's the way I am. Like I get more mad when I've made a mistake, and then I know that the next turn they're gonna win, but then they make a similar mistake and then open the door for me to win the match. Like it makes me so much more mad. I'd be like, well, of course, burping, because I guess I just like to burp on this podcast. I don't know what it is. But it's like, yes, I'm excited. Okay, I won that one. But then I just step outside and hit my vape, which you shouldn't do, kids. Do not vape, do not smoke. But I'm a degenerate adult.
Don't use that.
No. I'm a degenerate adult. So don't listen to my suggestions on health. But I'll go outside and I'm like, I won that because this dude didn't fully tap out when I had no cards in hand and I had one blocker and he had two attackers. Like, this makes no sense. Like, why wouldn't you do that? And it makes me more mad when I win when I shouldn't win. Now, if it's super close and it could go either way, like, I'm not as mad. But like, if I know, like, oh, he has me dead to rights and he just doesn't execute because he misplays somehow, it frustrates me even more. Like that pisses me off, and I get more mad about being the next round. And there's been times where I've been so mad where I've given the win to my opponent and then dropped in the tournament because I was that pissed off.
Yeah. I will say the one experience I have similar to that is I was in like round 3 of a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament, and there were legitimately like a elementary school kid played against me, and obviously I stomped him, and I was like, why? Like, why did it? This shouldn't be how this is, because like he was playing with like, unsleeved cards and like just cards from booster packs like you would, and I didn't have the heart to be like, oh yeah, I was like, okay, sign your name on a sheet, go give it to that guy and tell me you won, because
you were so mad because they put you, oh my god, dude, I hate that. Like, I actually honestly I prefer to play against kids, and it's not because I know I'm going to stomp them. It's more of like just to watching their excitement throughout the whole game, like them playing the game and watching them think through it. Because the Johnny Beast I go to on Sundays, I didn't go today because I just didn't feel like getting out of bed. But I just playing against kids, it's just like it's fun to like, they get so mad at, because I don't like to watch when they play against somebody else and they get so mad with them making a mistake, and I'm like, hey guys, I have to like sometimes walk over there and be like, hey, it's okay, like this is how we learn. If we knew everything, we wouldn't be better. I mean, you want to get better, right? So I prefer, but like I can see that like where you're like, it's just like he's playing like one of every single card that he likes.
Yeah, well, honestly, I think it was because it was at least 3 rounds in, like it was round 3, and he most likely had lost every other game he had played, and I think he was just like defeated. Like, like at that point he was just like this isn't gonna work for me or whatever, and I was like, I don't want this to be like, because I think I must have won one, lost one, and then
you got
paired down. Yeah, and I was just like, what? I was like, I'm not even gonna do well in this tournament anyways. Like it was a locals. I was like, I'm not. Oh, this isn't worth my money. I would rather just at least give this kid a win. So it's a little bit better. Yeah. And I just like that kind of stuff. It really bothers me. But
I just anxiety is it. I think it gets everybody. Like there's very few people that anxiety doesn't affect, and it may affect you a little bit. It may affect you so much that you have to drop from the tournament. But we all get affected by anxiety.
Everyone does.
Yeah.
I really don't think there's a single person out there who can genuinely say I don't get anxious about like playing or doing something that has stakes in it. Yeah. And if you do, let us know in the comments. All right, I want to hear it. If you think that you are so much better to not have anxiety, tell me. Tell me about it. I want to read your comments.
But if you're just like us with anxiety, put it in the comment section below, and I promise you there'll be somebody else that is, dealing with a similar thing. Because I remember my first major tournament ever. I smoked like half a pack of cigarettes right before it. Yeah. And I was so stressed out, but it ended up being the best experience I ever had. I met so many people. I had so much fun just playing the game, even getting stomped in the face by my opponents with, tier B, tier C decks. I was playing tier G for garbage, but but no, like that's the big thing is also going about when you're in and before tournaments. Like, hey, I'm just going to have fun. I was able to play a game that I love, and it really helped curb my anxiety of how to do it. And knowing that, and just knowing in general that other people are dealing with the same thing I'm dealing with, it helped me with my anxiety. And especially if you're going to be in Monroeville, you guys can come up to us, and we're there in the same boat as you, feeling a similar way. I'm going to be stressed. I'll be stressing out. You're going to be in Tulsa, so go up to Daniel, and you got to take some cards with you. You got to take cards.
Dude,
and some pen.
Will. If you see me, do not be afraid to come talk to me. I would love that.
I'll come locals just to come sign some cards so you can give them out at Tulsa. You just bring your favorite card, which is going to be purple because you're a what? What are you, Daniel?
Purple whore.
You're a purple whore. Purple. So we'll have some cards for you guys for at each event. I'll have some counter swords because I'm a white powder loving whore. So I'll have some counter swords signed by me and Daniel, and then Daniel, you will have.
I don't know yet. I gotta
What's
think
your
about this.
favorite purple card, bro?
It's Curse Dragon, but I can't be defacing.
Okay, we're not defacing curse. We're not doing that.
I'll
you know
think
what? I
about
might
it.
give you
I do have
one
an
curse.
idea.
Hey, I might actually give you one curse dragon because I need to buy
No.
defaced. Maybe.
No,
If you guys are gonna be in Monroeville, come up to us. Daniel will have a defaced curse dragon. I promise you. Because I'm gonna deface it first, and then he's just forced to sign it because it's already defaced. It's already there. It's halfway there. Just finish the job, Daniel. But yeah, no. We should get to our last two topics because we were trying to make this a short episode, and we're at 50-ish minutes. Yeah, we're at an hour already. So, what do you want to do first? Do you want to do my thing, or do you want to do the fantasy draft?
No, we can do yours first.
Okay, so we are going to talk about, because I've had a bunch of people ask me for my White Bounce list. So, I sent it to Daniel, and we're going to... Yep, and I'm bringing it up into a view. We're going to go over my deck list. And this is something I've been playing since, it came out April, May, end of May, beginning of June timeframe. I've been playing this deck. And it's been
a while, right?
Yeah, I've been playing for at least 2 months with this deck. But the real edition was before Columbus was adding the Axe Spiders. I was trying for the longest time not to have Axe Spiders. But we'll just go over them and then kind of the thought process for each of them and what they're there for. And then there's 29 sideboard cards just because I have no clue what I want to do yet with my sideboard. And this is changed.
Even let you do that.
Yeah, it allows you to put as many cards as you want. You just can only put max 4 copies of a card. That's all it allows you to do. But you could put like the whole list, or you put every single card in the sideboard that you want. I don't know about I haven't been trying to max out the main yet, but so let's get into it. So the first is we're playing 4 Automatic Gunner, 4 Pegasion, Scion. How do we say that name? What's the
Pegasion?
Pegasion. Fly Horsey Dude. Call him Fly Horsey Dude. 4 Axe Spider, and then 4 Valkyrie Mist. So we're just talking about the 4s right now. So, the reason why, Axe Spider is Axe Spider. We all know why Axe Spider is in the white list. If you're not playing Axe Spider in a white list, then you're wrong. You should always be playing 4 Axe Spider in white list. I can see other decks like red, you don't want to touch. Yellow, there's really no reason unless you're playing like a white yellow deck. But like majority of the time, white. If you're playing white, you're playing 4 Axe Spider. But Pegasion really is a staple in this deck. There always could be. I could go down to 3. I can see a world where there's 3, but 4 in the deck in total. So like 1 on the side, just to drop another card in there because we're at 52 cards. Most decks are 50 cards, right? So 52 cards, more than most decks, but there's a need for the 2 extra cards. Do you have any questions about that portion that you would think people would have there, sir?
No, I think that you really honestly can't understate the value of those 2 4-cost cards. Axe Spider and Valkyrie Mist are arguably some of, if not the best, white spirits in white decks. I guess you could probably preface it with that. Valkyrie Mist is just a huge tempo card. The fact that you are reducing the reduction, you're reducing the amount of blockers, unbelievable. And then Pegasion, fact that it has armor red is so relevant. If you've ever played this deck or played against it, that armor red and purple is so clutch.
So I just put Pegasion last probably like 2-3 weeks. I put 4 whenever I asked you for something, right? So maybe like 3 weeks ago. I got those and I was like, I don't know. Why would I need it? And I've forgotten about the red and the purple. So people they'll core drain the Peggy. And I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Put it in there, and like, oh yeah, he wasn't able to be targeted. No, I couldn't. But we're like 3 turns into it. I'm like, oh well, yep, that's no. From now on, So yeah, no, I like, and I went to 4 just because of what our top end is.
Yes.
And our top
Yes.
end is Harrier Turbo Rex, Derm Dyna, and then the Mammoth Aegis. Now, the big thing is the only reason why I have Peggy in here. I wanted to put another like under like a 2 or like a 1 or 0 cost in here, but I needed targets, and you're not targeting the Axe Spider with Turbo Rex. You're not doing it.
Yeah.
And then Turbo Rex is there specifically to bounce larger stuff than what your Valkyrie Mist will do, because Valkyrie Mist only allows you to bounce 7 or fewer. But if you want to bounce Gigantos, if you want to bounce, give me some others that you'd want to bounce.
Oh, another mammoth. Like if your opponent has a what's his name, Newman guard. That's probably the other really big one that you'd want to bounce. Well, you can bounce Derm, but Maduke is the other 8 cost that you always want to.
Well, you said you can't bounce Derm. You can bounce.
No,
Derm.
you can
Okay,
bounce
yeah.
Derm.
Yeah,
but, I mean, it doesn't really help at all. He costs so few in a full with full reduction, but
yeah.
Maduke, Giganorex, and Newman guard are the worst 8 cost spirits to see on your opponent's field.
Oh, it's terrible.
Oh, no.
The big one when I originally put him in here, what I was looking to do is for the for Elk. That was the biggest thing that I was having problems with, because if you bounce Elk on your attack, then they can't trigger the dropping 1 life. So that was originally why I put him there. But then I was like, you know what? I need 2 of them in here. So I put 2 in there, and I don't use them most of the time. I've been starting to side out like 1 or 2 of them when I don't need them, because the other top end is just so good. The 2 Derm and the 2 merged Mech Lord Mammoth Aegis is fucking insane, bro. Especially the counter sword combo. You're going from 1 core to 3 cores in a 2 card play. It's insane. I love it. So, and I actually didn't think Aegis was going to be as good as he is. I thought,
he's too good.
Oh, dude, I like, he's like up there with like almost Gigantorex like level, like almost. He's not there yet, but I mean, he's not there, but he's so close to just being able to, especially if you're playing more in like a regain deck where you can regain him after you attack with him, to be able to bounce that 5 cost. Being basically, he was the replacement for Buffalo and Bill, because Buffalo and Bill I had in the deck for a while, and I would just be like, I'd have Buffalo and Bill and Aegis in my hand with the cores to play one of them, just not both of them, and I'd be like, I'd rather just get the draw, the extra life, and then having a big body on the board, like a 6K and a 10K. So probably the best white card that came out of this new set, and that's hard to say because of some of the other cards we have later in this list. But I'm also, so we're gonna go into the only Nexus that I'm playing in the main. In the side, that's where I'm having trouble if I want 2, 3, or just 1 inside. But Infinity Mothership. This deck, except for Valkyrie Mist, everything else is a mech or machine beast, and you're always going to have protecting it. You're always going to have Axe Spider on the field. So, what's your opinion on Mothership?
I love that card. I think that honestly, in this deck, in any Axe Spider deck, if you can fit at least one of these cards, you're probably happy. I think that with these big costs, if you early in game are able to get, and I mean, spoiler for the rest of your deck, these magic cards they can end up costing a lot, but that extra core turn, it adds up so quickly.
Yeah.
You don't realize if you're going second and you play that card, you're big chilling.
Yeah.
You pass your opponent, they go to attack, you get all of them back. You can even Burning Force if you want. Like it's so strong.
Oh, and I played 3
really
of them. I played 3 because everybody was saying, why don't you just play 2? Why don't you just play 2? Why don't you play 2? And because you're gonna have it protected by Axe Spider. the way I look at it is if you can get two of them on the field at the same time, you're not getting the benefit that two cores instead of, or two extra cores instead of one.
It's just more reduction. Yeah.
You get the more reduction, but also being able to use your soul core and put it onto Peggy for the defense. Use your soul core for the Derm and have both of them on the field. First gives you Derm an extra ability to target one of your creatures for unblockable, but also they can still Burning Force or Exhaust Nexus one of your motherships, and you still have that benefit on the back end of the course coming back on your opponent's attack step. And that's why I play 3. Everybody's like, oh, if you see a second one, it sucks. But I actually prefer to see a second one. I will drop it down for 3 at that point.
Especially with Derm, too.
Oh, yeah. And in the sideboard, like I said, we're trying to figure out the sideboard. But I was looking at playing 3 of these in the main and then 3 of the Rocket Cities in the sideboard, because then you can just switch it out if you need to go speed with Derm. But this is the one that a lot of people are like, Diamond Radiance. Why? Because if you're going to have 3 bodies on the field, you're gonna get the ability to increase one of your spirits an extra 2k, especially only for 1, and be able to draw a card. White, that was the biggest thing with White, is White has always had trouble with drawing cards. You're putting in other cards, red cards, to either charge draw or Star Bless draw to get your draw in. I know it's not 2, but being able to get a card and have the 2k bump, I think is the biggest thing for at least White to come out of the EXO set.
Yeah.
But we of course play the 4 Ice Shields, and then these 2 guys, 4 of each of them: Inescapable Avalanche and Infinity Shield. Give me your thoughts on that. Yes. I have a trouble when they're in my hand. I always think one is the other. So like I'll be like,
you couldn't. They look so similar,
dude. I did it with even the store championship promos. Like the Infinity Shot, I still did the same thing. So it's not that. It's just they're the same exact cost 4, and they have the same reduction of 2, and it just messes with my mental, dude. But these cards are insane. Let's talk a little bit about those, Daniel.
Yeah, so I mean, Inescapable Avalanche is really cool because it circumvents White Armor. Like, if you've ever had an Enterprise put against you and they start going Derm Dyna and you've got a handful of Dream Bombs, you're crying. Because those Dream Bombs do nothing. And a lot lot of people don't know that, or I don't think it's happened to a lot of people.
Wait. I might not even know this. So this will bump something that has white armor.
Yes, it does not select. It just says return one of your opponent's attacking spirits to their hand.
What? So I didn't even know this. I'm the white player here.
Yeah, it's really powerful for that.
Yeah.
It's just I think that this card has, like, this card in tandem with Dream Bomb is very powerful, and just like the next card, Infinity Shield, in tandem with Suppression is very powerful. If you're dropping a Suppression on, let's say a Pegasione or your merged Mechlord Mammoth Aegis, or even a Derm in a bad situation where you couldn't attack the turn before, or Dynarex, you're like, man, this feels great. And let's say that Diamond Radiance then draws you into an Infinity Shield. You're like, I'm literally unkillable.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, and then I'm going to add 2k to you. The Radiance is just, if you select the right spirit, it's basically those two, Infinity Shield and Radiance combo together. Gets your benefit of being able to draw a card. You're getting 2k bump, so 1,000 less than a suppression, but you don't have to spend the soul core, and then being able to like I said, draw the card and block infinitely. Like it's
gross.
It's a gross great combo. Now So I took out the dragon, the Sky Dragon Lord Platinum, put him in the
Yeah,
sideboard because I just don't think
yeah.
he's needed as much. At least what we're seeing developments in the meta. Last meta, it was an amazing card to have,
Oh yeah,
but in this meta, it's not good enough because you're all the tokens for white, the white tokens, they're all 4K, so it doesn't bump those. And then you have the increase with the green tokens to make them bigger than 3K. So like it's not as beneficial. So, but they still his numbers are good enough. He's good enough for the sideboard. Just
yeah,
to get big with that 9K, it's really
yeah.
good.
He's huge.
But I took that out and I added a Starburst draw because we are getting we're getting more wind summons. We definitely want to be able to take advantage of drawing 4 cards.
Oh yeah,
Hopefully draw into it, and then I'll play more on the sideboard. But I'm actually playing like everything in the sideboard right now because there's 29 cards in the sideboard. So a lot of people were thinking when the game came out that Starbless was going to be the one that kills purple, right?
yeah.
But now it's more about the wind summon stuff. We got a lot more of it, right? So
Yep.
I think
Yellow's been playing a lot.
yeah, I think the one Starblast draw and then having 2 more on the side, I think is the right call. And then a lot of people ask me why not force suppression. The big reason is you have Infinity Shield. You don't need
Yeah.
suppression as much because you're gonna want to use your Soul Core for other reasons instead of to add the extra 3K. So yeah, that's why I got 3 of those, and then 2 Burning Force because hey, killing 2 3Ks or fewer, it's broken. Now, looking at the list, is there anything that you would change? What you were thinking would be good? Oh, sorry, I'm missing 2 cards.
Yeah, I was gonna say you didn't count the counter sword and the dream.
Well, I was gonna
Bombs.
go Dream Bomb first. Dream Bomb
Oh,
2
okay.
because Dream Bomb is it's good, allowing you to bounce. It's most people are running like 3 or 4 of them. I'm running
Yeah.
2 because I got my bounce with my inescapable avalanche. But the best card in the deck for Magic, Counter Sword.
Oh yeah.
I love
This
Counter
card
Sword,
is
dude.
crazy. Oh well, especially you were just talking about the wind summoned being a lot
Mm-hmm.
in the meta. If you're stacking any of those purple cards, like I will say there are probably some that you wouldn't want to, like
Yeah,
Cavalier,
yeah.
but if you're stacking a Mordred, your opponent's probably gonna rip that Mordred up after that game,
Right,
dude.
100%. And then, oh, hey, let's just add a core to the life.
Oh yeah, that's like the fact that it only costs 2 at full reduction is really nice.
And the
I
thing
like this list.
with white, the thing with this list, you're gonna have the 3 reduction. You're gonna have it. You're gonna be paying 2, and to add a life for 2 is just crazy. Like I said, if you're behind in card advantage in your hand, you're behind in life, and then playing Aegis and then playing this right afterwards. It
Oh,
just you feel indestructible, and
oh yeah.
and it swings the tempo of games a lot more. But let's scroll down to the sideboard of 29 cards. And I
Yes.
actually kind of want to know everybody's opinion on this. I really have no clue where to go with this sideboard. So we're
I
playing
think
the Buster Fenrir Cannon, which is going to be really good against green. The backlist Curse Dragon combo is good, and it actually helped me out in a lot of games that we were playing on Tuesday. I think it's so good, but committing 4 to like 6 slots for it just feels bad.
yeah, I understand like what you're looking at with this card. I think it was really good for me too. Like I don't know. Like I want to say that this card beats like aggro decks, but I just don't know if I really feel that way all the time.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
I feel you.
sometimes you're just not going to have enough cores to summon him, and
Yeah.
then he's going to be rotting in your hand. And then
Yeah.
other times you'll have the cores to summon him, and your opponent will miraculously or accidentally play around it, and you're like, why is this
Yeah.
happening?
Exactly. Yeah. It's just it. I like I said, that's what's tough. But then when I was playing against you with the winning deck from the Pro Tour, I was looking at Enterprise, and I'm like, oh, this helps me in a lot of matchups. But then I look at it, and I'm like, it just feels, it's the same thing with the Curse Dragon. I'm like, I want to play something else with when I can play this. Like I want to play something else at that time when I would drop this,
Yeah.
and it might be a testing thing, but I don't know if I can. I feel more comfortable dropping 6 copies of the Curse Dragon combo and not playing this than putting 2 of these in my sideboard and then switching out everything else. But I could change everything when it comes up to the Grand Open.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's something I'm dealing with. What's your opinion on Winged Godmech Grand Woden?
I thought this card was insane when it first came out. I thought it was broken. I also think that Frigid, like the new Snow Princess, is pretty interesting too.
Is that the one that requires you to pay extra to play?
To draw.
Yeah, to draw.
Yeah, and I wish this card didn't say during opponent's turn. If this card said during, like just in general, like during either main phase or during either turn, it would be a must play in every sideboard. But this card, it's weird because it kills, like absolutely annihilates the Luster deck.
Oh,
like,
100%.
Which is so funny because that deck didn't need a card that kills it. Like, it also is pretty good against yellow in general. The fact that it can, this card can actually contest the, what's his face? The Void Lord, the yellow Void Lord, if he hasn't, like you have to survive a turn. If the Void Lord is summoned, and it's most likely going to attack you that turn, and if it survives, which most likely it will because of that during opponent's turn exhaust nexus, like you're most likely not going to get double exhaust nexus. This card has a lot of survivability against yellow is all I'm trying to say. And if they start to try to kill you with this card, you kind of just be living. You know?
Right.
That's
100%.
I like that about this card. I think that it has a lot of application against that deck specifically. The other decks that it's really good against is green aggro, because if they try to Thorn Prison you to kill you and you have that thing on field, you feel great. Because they're probably not going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
I'll just put that out there. If you're a green player and you see this card, you're going to be like, oh man, I don't like that. You're Thorn Prison stopping aggro.
Oh yeah, 100%. And then we're coming to the end. You said the Yellow Void Lord. I was thinking about maybe playing the Yellow Void Lord.
Oh yeah, I understand why you would too. I mean, there are a lot of games in testing, in tournament, otherwise that you get these 10 cores like this.
Oh, I'm seeing
seems like impossible
in towards the middle to end, or probably towards the end. I'm at like 18 to 20 cores, either in reserve or in play, that I can drop this and feel still pretty good about dropping everybody down to 1. And I could see myself this being the reason, because it just gives me it's like another derm because of the level 2. Well, your Void Lord spirits are attacking, they cannot be blocked by spirits with fewer BP than them. Which just seems like if you can drop this before yellow can drop this, you're big chilling. Especially if you can combo, you can drop this and then drop Derm after it, so it doesn't get, or well, I mean, it really doesn't matter with the level 1, right? Because it's level 1 anyways. You just do the same thing. Derm's going to be where you want him to be anyways, and you could come in with 3 unblockables, and probably by that time you've already taken 1 to 2 cores. So
and if you play this card, you have 10 cores, right?
Yeah.
You pay this card. Well, technically, you need 11 to sustain it. So you pay 10. You summon it with 1 core. It lives a turn.
Yeah.
You get 10 more cores. You're putting 6 on this bad boy, and now all of these spell cards will come back to your hand after you use them offensively, which is insane. Like, oh my god, your dream bombing cards that you should. Like, oh man, it
Burning
feels great.
Force. It feels good. Yeah. So I was thinking
Even
about
that
playing him
Diamond
in.
Radiance.
Oh,
Yeah.
the Diamond Radiance. Yeah, being able to just like, oh hey, boom, just keep playing it and just because it doesn't say Diamond Radiance doesn't say your white spirits. It just says select one of your spirits, add 2K. So you could actually bump him up to 9K the turn that you play him, and yeah, it's I think it's a real consideration. Rocket City, we all know why Rocket City would go in here. It's a quick Nexus on the field, and yeah, you're getting that extra. And then Starblast draw, just because Starblast draw. I have won the main. It would be good to be able to switch it if you're seeing a lot of wind summons, to be able to drop this in here. Take out Diamond Radiance, bring it up to 3 or up to 4. I think it's a good combo. Oh, yeah. And then Burning Force, of course, because it's Burning Force, and we want to see the destruction, the Nexus destruction, and especially with the amount of low cost aggro going around, being able to kill a lot of things really is beneficial, especially if you can get the Void Lord on the field and be able to just keep cycling this and dropping it and killing things.
Yeah, I like this list a lot. I think that there's a lot to consider with the side deck, but with more testing too, it will become more clear what you're gonna want.
Yeah, I think the big thing is I'm just gonna hand you guys a stack of cards and be like, hey, do not touch the main deck. Here is all the cards that can go sideboard, building my sideboard, and I'll just see it when I submit it. I think that's what I'm gonna do, and that's what's great thing about having a team. You can have them do some of your dirty work for you.
Yeah.
But last but not least, so that's my list. A lot of people have been asking about it, and I wanted to put it out there because we answer the people, and the people wanted to see the bounce deck. And we're going to call this remember how last week did you see the title of the podcast?
Yeah, no name.
Or Kyle's a liar. Basically, we're going to call it the Liar Podcast. Yeah. So I'm going to do what my community asked me to. And they wanted me to release this list, and I'm going to. But you know how last week I'm like, it's your fault that we're not going to do the fantasy draft. And you're like, let's not do it. Let's do it next week. Guess what?
Oh,
it's my turn.
No.
It's my turn. I'm sorry to disappoint you. I give you guys something. It was either my list or the fantasy. And we are at an hour 18 minutes, and we were trying to keep this under an hour. Did not work, Daniel. Did not work.
No, it didn't.
Yeah. But I still think it was a great episode. We're definitely doing the fantasy. We're gonna lead off next week. That's what we're doing. We're leading off with it.
I like that.
We're leading off with it, and we'll have the tournament. We're gonna try to get sponsorship for this tournament, and this is why next week you're gonna want to tune in to hear about it, because there's something to do with the fantasy draft and how to get into this tournament. If you guys want to be a part of it, there is some Battle Spirits cards on the line. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, Daniel, anything for you, sir? Do you have anything to tell everybody, because they're disappointed after me? So
disappointed in me.
They're disappointed in me. So you have to take the brunt. This is when everybody clicks. Is right when you clicks off. Is right when you start talking.
I want you to comment that you hate me. If you're a real one,
don't say that. I will stalk you on the internet, come and kick you in the nuts if you say, Daniel, you hate Daniel. If anything, you hate me. Okay, guys? No, it's not Daniel's fault. This week it's my fault, guys. I just didn't want. I talked too long on a couple subjects. We're at an hour and like 19. We're like 18, 19 minutes. So yeah, it's a pretty long one. But Daniel, what do you really have to say to the people?
I want you guys to have fun playing. That's all. I always say that, whether it's, tournament anxiety, or if you're trying to get a group of people together to play, I just want you to have fun. And if we can help you get that organized, you want some advice, let us know. We'll do what we can. That's what we're here for, right? We're having fun, making a real community out of what we got.
But yeah, guys, with Daniel saying that, yeah, guys, if you have questions about building your own team, because we do want to have teams that we're going up against, because we really want Battle Spirits to do what they're doing in One Piece, is a 3v3, and you need a team for a 3v3. And it would be very interesting to have that within the Battle Spirits community. But it's more of like, the more teams mean there's more people coming in the community. That means there's more positivity in the community, and we really do love it. But In the comment section below, guys, if you guys do have a team, comment your guys' team. And if you guys want some help with stuff, just email us at bosstcgmedia@gmail.com. And if you also want to do content for other card games, we are looking for creators for that. So send me that email, title it, trying to do One Piece content. Just email me and we'll get on a Discord call. But yeah, guys, for me and Daniel, you guys stay awesome, stay blessed, and we'll see you in the next one.
See ya. Peace.